Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zebra Talk, the podcast where we shine a little light onto the lives and the untold stories of the people who slide on their knees and count the threes. That's right, I'm talking about the referees. And today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine. He's coming to us all the way from Ireland. You know him from 553, from Phoenix Wrestling, and of course from Over the Top. We're talking about Niall Fox. How you doing, Foxy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great now that we're on take 3 of this intro. I'm really thinking that I'm gonna have to do some kind of like outtake section, at the end of these each time.
Definitely, definitely. I look forward to seeing that though.
I'm so excited to hear from you. Why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what your first early introduction into professional wrestling was like. Go right ahead.
Yeah. So obviously, as it was brought to your attention, uh, I am from Ireland. Not not an American that says like they're from. I'm from Ireland. No, I'm from Ireland. I live in the country itself. But yeah, I got involved in wrestling in 2006. I went there to train, obviously as a wrestler, because as you do,
Sure.
everyone has the mindset is like, I want to be a wrestler. I want to be a wrestler.
Did you
You go
start
in
watching
with
like when you were a little kid and like just spend your whole life imagining that you were going to be a wrestler?
no. Strange enough, it was one of those. I I'd watch it. I watched it during the days of like Hogan, Bret Hart.
Sure.
Then I took a break. Then came back to it during I want to say about 98,
Mhm.
then another break, and then it was really in 99, 2000 is when I really like started really watching it
Sure.
and just got hooked. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't
like I
really
was,
start until late '99 myself. I started, the
yeah,
first thing I saw was Stone Cold's got hit by a car. Rikishi did it for The Rock and all that. Yeah.
I did it for the Rock.
Yeah.
No, but like, yeah, like Undertaker was always like a staple throughout the time that I watched it. But and Shawn Michaels,
Yeah.
the for 99, and obviously because we were heading into the Attitude Era, so it was very different product as it were. And but it you had stars like Austin on the rise, you had The Rock, you had Triple H, you had Undertaker, you had Mankind, you had
Mhm.
Kane, like Big Show, so many like names
Yeah,
that
huge names
became
at the time. Yeah.
household names
Yeah.
in less than a couple of years, and it's scary because you couldn't go anywhere without seeing one of that list of names
Yeah.
in any store or a newspaper or TV advert.
You had like
But
normal kids at school that like weren't into wrestling that were wearing like Stone Cold shirts or like doing crotch chops and stuff. It was just like, what is this?
like for over here, because like it's a small country, like if it wrestling didn't have that kind of stigma where, oh, you watch wrestling?
Sure.
No, don't do that. Whereas like here, it was like everyone was into it.
Sure. That's
Everyone's
cool.
into wrestling. Everyone grew up with the Attitude Era. So if you're in school, you'd probably be like trying to have wrestling matches while
Nice.
uh, on break, lunch or break or recess, as it is in America. Like it's just having little mini wrestling matches and trying not to get caught by the teacher, and if you do, you get a really cool teacher that's just like, just be careful, will you?
Right?
Please, just be careful. Like,
Do you feel like
meanwhile, I'm in a crossface, like on the ground, just
just getting your shoulder ripped out of your arm? Do you feel like because Ireland is such a small country, obviously a very famous, powerful, influential country, but like because it's such a small country, do you feel like there's more of a like community identity than some of the other places? You're saying, like it wasn't really such a shunned thing. It was more so like everybody was into it. Is that kind of the case with most things there?
well, I want to say yes. Like, for wrestling, especially, like wrestling is still relatively new to the
Sure.
country. Like if it wasn't for the likes of Finn Balor or Paul Tracy actually deciding to go to England and train and then try to bring that here to Ireland,
Sure.
wrestling was still basically non-existent. You'd get
Yeah.
the odd wrestler that will travel out and make a name of themselves, but
Hmm.
it wasn't something that was considered. Oh, let's open a school. Let's try and teach a new generation of this. Like it was, yeah. It's just bare like skeleton crew of people that actually went out and did something.
Right.
But
It's pretty cool to hear it from a perspective like that because I think being in the States or even like Canada, Japan, Mexico, even the UK, England specifically, um, I think that maybe we lose sight of the fact that there are a lot of countries, even right now, that are just getting their first taste of professional wrestling on a local level. Like we're
mm,
seeing a lot of expansion to like South America right now. Obviously, China just kind of really kicked off in a big way with OWE and everything. And like, yeah, it's pretty cool to hear from that kind of a perspective. You have like a firsthand knowledge of like growing a fledgling wrestling community in your own country. So please go right ahead.
yeah, like it's as I said, like with Finn Balor and Paul Tracy, they went to England. They learned from Hammerlock UK, then
Hmm.
try to bring that training and start a school, which was originally NWA Ireland,
Hmm.
and try to like train up a bunch of people, and then try to get started. But eventually, when uh, Finn decided to leave and Paul decided to go a different direction, the school still remained, but went under a name change to Fight Factory
Sure.
Pro Wrestling,
Right.
and that was headed up by some of the trainees from Finn and Paul. And but while that was going on, there was also another one or two that were starting a new school
Sure.
called Irish Whip Wrestling. Irish Whip Wrestling it was it's the first it was the only Irish based promotion to get a TV deal
Mm.
in Ireland, and we actually managed to get onto the wrestling channel, as it were, for early 2000s. It was like the wrestling channel was a particular channel for Sky TV, and it would show either highlight reels or certain TV shows that they managed to acquire the rights to. One of them happened to be Irish Whip, but you
Hmm.
could also see the likes of New Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, bits from Mexico, bits of WWE and WCW. It was
It's kind of a
a good,
hodgepodge, a collection of all
yeah, it was
kinds
a
of stuff.
hodgepodge
Yeah.
of different like promotions. But that if you were lucky enough to have like satellite TV back in like the early 2000s, you would have seen this channel, and therefore like you'd be hooked to it. Because if
Yeah.
you're a wrestling fan, you wanted to take in everything as
Right.
much as you could. But in the process of it, like there was an advertisement for the school, which happened to be Irish Whip Wrestling,
Hmm.
and basically advertising that they had a school, and people that wanted to apply, they could go to this or call this number.
So at what point do you end up affiliated? Obviously, you said 2006, but were you a part of Fight Factory or did you come in during Irish Whip?
I started off in Irish Whip in
Okay.
2006, and it was through my brother-in-law who who brought me. Like he brought me down to the school because he had started his training a year before me. Because I was too young to start.
Hmm.
Uh, you need to be 16 to start in the school, and I was 15, so I had
Gotcha.
to wait I had to wait a bit of time. But
Sure.
he brought me down. I started training, stayed there for a little bit. Kind of got ran off a little bit as well by, uh, you get the hot shot like import that comes in to do a
Sure.
seminar and then runs everyone out basically.
Who's this 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid that thinks he's so hot? Yeah, I feel
Like
it.
the vet that comes in and just runs you in circles till you
Yeah.
just puke and just no, I don't want to go near. That's actually what happened to me. I
Sure.
didn't want to go near. It scared me away. But for some reason I couldn't stay away. I would try to like get back here and there. So and plus I still had school to finish. So finished school, uh, then went straight to college.
Mhm.
So that kind of kiboshed that like come back to wrestling. But in the process, like I would jump in and out and try to whether it be helping out or as you do when you start out, just help out with the show.
The ring,
Uh,
the tickets,
yeah,
security, whatever. Yeah.
anything that you could do to help or try and curry favor, as it were. But
Sure.
the it wasn't until 2010 though that I really tried to give it a go, as it were. I went to Fight Factory to start training, and great, great teachers there.
Mhm.
Like Phil Boyd is the head trainer there. He's fantastic. At the time, we had who goes by Justy now. Like there's a lad there, he goes by Justy. If you've watched OTT, you'll know Justy.
Sure.
But like fantastic head for wrestling. It's scary, like, and you wouldn't think of with his personality, like just a wealth of knowledge.
It's
But
always funny
very
those people who surprise you with like just like, an insane, like almost like like they're a savant for wrestling. They can just like
yeah,
kind of just flow with things. Yeah.
like it it was scary. It's a scary thing with Justy because like he does not look like a wrestler.
Sure.
Like it's just he just has that weird look to him where he doesn't look like a wrestler, but you put him in a wrestling setting and literally like you could go up to him and well, if he's not shouting at people, you could go up to him and like if you ask him his opinion, he'd give you an honest answer and try to work things out, like trying to help you along.
Which is so
It,
invaluable with like a
yeah,
world of so many people in professional wrestling that like it's a kindness, but also it's a bit harmful, the folks that like are so focused on making sure they don't like offend someone or hurt their feelings or whatever, at the you know at the hindrance of like actually progressing their career or their abilities. But yeah. Tell me a little bit about how you, transitioned into refereeing. You said you went to school to learn to wrestle, and then I'm sure at
yeah.
some point you realized maybe not so much for you. Was that the vet that kind of ran you off? Is that what led to you
No, it was
donning the stripes?
the,
Go right ahead.
the weird thing was is that when I started learning how to wrestle, the promoter at the time, Simon Rochford, I walked up to him. I was coming up to my first match, and I walked up to him and said, "So, am I going by my own name, or do you have a name, or what?" He just looked up and down and was like, "Mickey Magpie." I laughed in his face like that. That's the genuine reaction,
Sure.
and I was like, "Oh, you're serious? Oh, damn. Oh." So
I kind of had a similar reaction the first time my trainers tried to give me a manufactured referee name. Are you familiar with Rick Moranis?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I wear glasses, obviously, that are a little thick rimmed, and they were like, "Oh, you look just like Rick Moranis. You should be Odie Moranis." And I'm like,
Nope.
"Nah, I think I'm okay."
Yeah.
But
No, like,
anyway,
but it was obviously it was a name that he just thought of on the spot, but he couldn't keep that for a month. Like
yeah.
the next month when I went for my second match, it was like it changed. So it was Malachi Magpie, and then it
He
started.
loves
They
the
start
magpie thing, though.
they started taking the piss out of it. Then it was
Yeah,
like
sure.
Malachi Magpie, and then but he loved his double barrels, so
Sure.
MM.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come my fourth match, they decide like, all right, let's put him under a mask. So they put me under a
Masked
mask.
magpie.
It wasn't, no. Like I was expecting that. I was actually expecting that, but it turned out that like he just said, "Space Cadet." Again,
That's
what?
a big leap from Mr. Magpie, but okay, go ahead.
So like when eventually like it didn't I didn't end up asking the question until like a couple of years later, talking to a couple of the lads that were around at the same time. I was like, why did he call me that? Like, why did he give me that name? Oh, he just thought you were goofy looking. So that's why he put you in the mask. Thanks. So
Thanks, appreciate it.
but it was invaluable because by putting me under a mask, it allowed me to start to do double duty.
Right.
So I would wrestle a match and then probably ref in the second half, or vice versa. And that really, it didn't dawn on me until 2010 when I was trying to make a good go of wrestling.
Mhm.
The Some of the shows would require like double duty. So thankfully, like myself and my brother-in-law, who was wrestling under a mask at the time, we did that. So both of us got to do double duty, but heap of experience because of it. Like because we get to like not only we're learning how to wrestle properly, but we're also getting
The other
another
side of the coin from the
education.
ref perspective with like better
Yes.
better wrestlers, like more experienced wrestlers.
Mhm. And we approached it with the same logic. It's like, okay, as a referee, what do we not like
Yeah.
to happen when we're wrestling? Like, what do we not want a referee to do? So we tried to incorporate that when when we do it.
It's
Uh,
wild. They talk a lot about how like being a referee for a while will really help you become a better wrestler, but like the idea of doing both at the same time, like it compounds the knowledge. It's almost like instead of doing like 4 days a week of training, you're doing like 8 days a week of training, like at the same time.
yeah, all in
Smart.
one compressed like way.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I would still, as I said, I would still wrestle and then referee till eventually I was asked to do basically what's considered our camp tours,
Yeah.
where like a travel roadshow, and I did that solid for about 3 years as a referee alone. I didn't wrestle on it, but working with such a solid crew every week, and it's just like constantly like, okay, I need to move better. I need to be here. I need to do this. I need to learn how to do spots. I learned how to call, like to be better at calling stuff, and then like the wealth of knowledge through those camp shows helped me become a better referee. But like in the process, my wrestling was dwindling and the referee was going
Yeah,
up.
yeah. They're starting to
So
realize how valuable you are as a referee.
yeah, it was one
Are
of those
you
weird transitions.
are you doing these camp shows still with Irish Whip, or have you branched out into other shows at this point?
I was doing so for the camp shows, it was for a promotion called wrestling.e,
Sure.
and they still they still pop up every so often just to do the odd paid for shows, as it were.
Hmm.
Like certain festivals might pay for like an attraction. So,
Right.
but they're. I say to all trainees, like that's a great tool. If you're trying to learn how to wrestle, you learn how to work a different crowd because no crowd is the same for
Yeah.
any of the shows, and it's a fantastic training tool. But yeah, like I do that for 3 years solid. Started doing less and less, but through doing the camp tours, I met Joe Cabray, who basically would go on to form Over the Top.
Hmm.
And because we had worked with each other in the camp tours, he liked what I did, so he asked me to be the referee for it. And like I was happy for it, but it was just like I felt I was very ill equipped for an over 18 setting, which is
Yeah.
what Over the Top was at first. Well,
Did you feel that way just because like you hadn't really done like non-family friendly shows yet, or was it just like not really your thing, or
different monster. It's a different monster in terms of the crowd and how to handle certain people, like
sure. Like people
situations.
boozing is definitely very different from like, yeah, a family
Yeah,
friendly show.
like you can deal with people boozing, but it's just like you get the odd rowdy like crowd member who decides, oh, I'm gonna put my hands, I'm gonna
Yeah.
pull you, and it's like I'm not equipped for that. Like I'm really not. I'm not uh
Not a
comfortable as it
very
were.
not a very confrontational person or
No, I'm one of those like I'd rather blow a gasket away from all this
sure.
than actually do this and regret it later.
And it's
So
definitely not something that like I feel like is like should be expected of any of us, or like it's like
mm,
a normal thing or anything like that. Like yes, a lot of us do shows in front of crowds that have been like imbibing alcohol or whatever else, and yes, a lot of us do shows that don't have barricades and people are literally just standing around the ring and can reach their hands in or jump up on the apron and do stuff or whatever. But like that doesn't mean that they should or
no,
that we should expect that or that we should be okay with it.
like
But yeah, I hear you.
like
So
one of
go
the
ahead.
instance with that, like the reason why I say I'm ill equipped to it is because uh, I was working a smaller promotion that was up and running back in 2014,
Mhm.
and midway through a show, um, I thought it was running, like someone was gonna like yank me. I thought that's what was happening
Mhm.
on the fly, but turns out it was actually a crowd member who literally like grabbed my leg, pulled me out of the ring. So it's like,
That's intense.
yeah, it's one of those like it's the shock of like that wasn't supposed to happen,
Yeah.
and now I'm like, am a fight or flight? It's like no, uh, simply like it's like no, get him out. The,
Yeah.
it's like you can
Like
boo, cheer.
what actually ended up happening? Like did you just get security to like drag him out
I got
or
security to throw him out. It's just like because either if, as I said, if I blew a gasket and try to sock him because like
yeah.
you shouldn't put your hands on someone. Like it's one of those like unwritten rules, as it were. Like
Sure.
you can
But
boo and cheer whoever
you
you
never
want.
really know
Don't.
when like you never really know when the law has your back and like when
Yeah.
it's defending yourself and when it like strays into assault. Which is actually kind of funny that you bring that up. They're talking about that in Zebra Talk today right now. Somebody had brought up like if a crowd member does get into the ring and tries to do something, or if they, like you're saying, drag you out of the ring, what do you do about it?
Mm.
And yeah, just call in security, or if you really feel like you're threatened, like defending yourself is the best you can do. But
Mm.
anyway, please continue.
Yeah, like I didn't want to be that way. I didn't want to be like someone that just like, okay, no, that's it, suck. That's you're getting a punch. No,
Mhm.
I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be professional because I wanted to actually like kind of I want to be considered a professional and handle a situation in a better way.
Sure.
So I called for security. He got escorted out, and we continued on with the show.
I think
But
that shows like a certain level of authority for you as well, to
yeah,
like the rest of the people that are watching as well as to the boys. Like it's easy for you to drop all the pretenses of like I'm this, professional referee that's coming out to like enforce the rules and stuff like that and just be a dude who's like, "Hey, bap." So like kudos on you for like having the presence of mind and the, patience to handle it, the quote unquote right way.
don't get me wrong. Like when I went to the back, like after the match, like some of the boys are just like, you should have socked him right in the face for that. It's like, believe me, I wanted to so bad, but I didn't. It's one of those like, hmm, hmm,
Right.
uh, assault or
Continue
another
the
booking.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But that was one
just
of the instances that happened throughout the years. But like with our over the top wrestling, though, like I became more equipped over the years
yeah.
because of the level of talent and the level of uh, that we're expected to perform at.
Mhm.
It's like it's astronaut. Like over the top is the biggest promotion in Ireland.
Right.
It goes without saying, but the level that's expected of you, you have to be on your A game.
Yeah.
So I had no choice but to get
Sure.
better, and the only downside to working now I work every match like because there's
Yeah,
unfortunately there's
right. You're
not
the
that
only
many
referee
referees.
that's there, right?
Yeah, there's not really any referees that are working on the scene. There's a
Sure.
couple, but they're not. Unfortunately, it
If you don't
is like
mind, can we get you to lean back in a little bit?
sure,
Yeah, there we go.
yeah.
Your audio
Sorry.
was getting a little drifty.
So like the unfortunate thing is that like John Cabrera, the guy that runs it, he does not want anything below a certain level. And until someone reaches that level, he's not gonna have them on his show, and
Right.
that's understandable. So, but by the same token, we haven't had someone else come in. Like it's very few and far between that someone has come in
Yeah.
and refed on the show. We have had like we've had Joel come on, we've had Chris come over. Um, I found it was fantastic to have the likes of Chris
Sharp.
over because
Are we
it
talking
was
about Sharp?
yes, Chris Sharp,
Gotcha.
because finally I had someone I could pick the brain of,
Yeah.
which is
I'm
a
sure it's got
big
to be like
difference.
really hard for you being like the top level referee, like in your whole country, like, and you're, not to like blow smoke or anything like that, but like you're in a country where the community is still very new. You guys are still in your
Mm,
infancy, and like you don't really have that many people around for you to be able to pick the brains of and get notes from and things like that
mm.
when you're like the person who's at the top of that pile. It's like,
And
who do
it's
you go
very
to?
easy. It's very easy as well because like I try to stay uh, as humble as I can
Sure.
because I know the bigger picture is that there are thousands of other referees that are far better than me because by comparison I'm only like a small fish on a very small island.
Sure.
Like the way I see it is that like I have no one that's superior to learn from to kind of get better. So therefore I can only go to a certain level. Whereas
Right.
like I would love more opportunities to have, say, like a Chris Sharp or someone else come over and show me, tell me what
Sure.
I'm doing wrong, because
Yeah.
I've probably picked up loads of bad habits and I don't realize it. But I would also love the opportunity to, which obviously in the current climate you can't do that. But before all that came about, I would have loved to travel a lot. I'm sorry, I would I would have loved to travel a bit more in
Mhm.
order to get different aspects and work with different people. Because I
Right.
love working with new people and trying to adapt how I do things as well to better the show.
I think you can really attest to, like what's a common theme on the show is like, a lot of us, if not most of us, we've kind of had to train ourselves as professional wrestling referees. We haven't really had, most schools don't have a referee on
Mm.
hand as a trainer. And even worse than that, your whole country didn't really have a referee that was available to help train you. Was there anybody that had come before you in Ireland, or are you like
There,
the first professional referee?
like, there's been a couple of like referees that or talents that have been referees in the past, and
But
they
then they
probably
like
transitioned.
transition into wrestling or something.
Yeah, like some of them did it like because there was no one else to do it,
Sure.
and they probably transitioned to be, say, a manager or something else. But none of them, bar a few, actually stuck it out. Like some are still in wrestling, but they're not interested in refereeing in the
Right.
slightest
Yeah.
because
So
they
in a
found what their strongest suit is.
Yeah. So in a very real way, like you've already surpassed the level of like competency as a referee than anybody else in the country has had the chance to do just because the community is so new. So yeah,
Mm.
it totally makes sense that like you'll reach, like you were saying, like you may not be able to be like the absolute best referee in the world, but like if you reach a level that like your country has reached, you're going to plateau there until, like you were saying, somebody like Package comes in, Chris Sharp, or like maybe get a visit from someone um from the UK or from the States or something like that, maybe somebody from WXW, like so please continue. Tell me a little bit about how you've kind of made when did you realize that like you wanted to do this full time? Like I'm sure you have like a day job or whatever, but like when did you realize that like you wanted this to be like your career and not just something that, was like, oh,
On the
that'll be fun.
weekends.
Yeah.
Um, it was actually very early on. It was just I would say to really try and take it seriously. I think it was around 27, 16. I just I I realized because, like, as I said with OTT, you were expected to perform on a certain level and to get better constantly. So therefore, like, I wanted to dedicate myself and do it. It's like if I'm not doing OTT, then I want to do as many shows as possible in the country
Sure.
to get better and work with different, not only like different promotions, but different people.
Hmm.
Because even though like I'm the referee, I do say it's like I do have, as of like uh come February 1st, I'm 15 years in,
Yeah,
and
that's
I've
not.
experienced like 15 years experience. So I have something that I could teach you, like especially
Yeah.
for new guys. It's just like, here, if you want to use me, like, then fucking I'm gonna stand here. I'll probably move a certain way. You can probably shove at me and do this, like, or like if you need a slow 2 count, let me know what the move is, and I'll give you.
Sure.
I'll work with you to work with me, like that kind of thing.
Speaking of newer talent and the next generations and everything, are there any people that like you've taken under your wing as a mentor, as far as people that are referees?
For referees, now there's a couple people that are trying to start out. Now, unfortunately, like we haven't had a chance to like really like work together. Uh, like Haley Stewart is a member of the Zuba Talk as well, and she started out, I want to say 2019,
Sure.
and we have yet to actually like work with each other.
Hmm.
But she's also like the first female referee, like in the country. So
Right.
of
Yeah.
course I would love the opportunity to work with her and actually like bring her up to speed, because I would love to see her in over the top,
Yeah.
working at a high level. And
And then, like blossom into like this whole, new generation of female referees that are, encouraged to come in and be part of the community. Go
exactly,
ahead, continue.
like apart from like obviously like with referees, they're few and far between. Not many people come in with the mindset to be a referee.
Sure.
So with everyone, they want to be a wrestler, but I do say to them, right, do it for about 6 to 9 months. You'll know if you really want to be a wrestler. Then, if you don't want to be a wrestler, try and transition to something else that
Yeah.
you can help out. It'll help the show, but at the same time, you're also getting a new education and a better, more satisfaction
Yeah.
wrestling, rather than saying, "I gave it a try and I gave up."
Yeah, you don't
No,
necessarily have to abandon the whole, hopes and aspirations and all that just
yeah,
because, the first hat that you tried on didn't necessarily fit. There's lots of other hats that, might fit you better. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Niall had a special food delivery brought to him by his wonderful partner, and unfortunately, we were having some audio issues, so we got him all patched up with his microphone and headset, and hopefully things will sound a little bit clearer now.
hopefully.
Yeah. So we're talking about over the top. We're talking about you, like trying to reach a certain level of competency in the ring so that you can be at the level that over the top expects. Tell me about some of your experiences over the years now with OTT. Like, what has that been like for you?
Working with, like, I will admit, like, working with over the top is like being uh as much as stressful as it is, like, for especially for certain situations or certain scenarios that need to go the way they have to go. I've
Mhm.
also had some very awkward moments where like matches end because like that weren't planned to end in the way they did. Like I've had a situation where, so the finish didn't happen. Like the actual finish. Now
Isn't
the
it fun when
finish
that happens?
the finish didn't happen. It was someone got their, they were going for their kick out, but they didn't get up in time. So
Right,
therefore I had to call it.
right.
But fortunately we got the same result.
Sure.
Thankfully. That was one of those awkward situations because even people on the camera are just like, then I like it's very like you were
Uh,
literally hitting as like her shoulder is getting up. It's like,
sure.
but by during the course of it, it's like because of the situations I've been put in with scenarios like that, either people aren't playing ball or people are purposely trying to work me, which I
Sure.
don't see the point in. Like purposely like not speaking English when they can
Yeah.
and not telling me. Thanks, Naito. But yeah, like Naito just pulled a complete rib on me, like, and I wasn't happy about it. Like
Sure.
where he just pretended he didn't speak English.
Oh, sorry, no English. Yeah, sorry.
No, he didn't even do that. Like my only interaction was in the ring
Mhm.
when their match was happening, and the whole time he's just speaking in Japanese. I can't speak Japanese. I can. Come on, a word, please
Sure.
help me, work with me, or like actually like shooting on someone in the middle of the ring, and it's like, no, I didn't know if it was planned,
Yeah.
and it's not fair.
But
The
we
everyone
kind of roll with the punches and we do the best that, we
that we
can with
can.
the situations that we're given. What's some of your like more fond memories from OTT? Like do you have a favorite match or matches that, like kind of come to mind when people ask you about that?
I've actually a few. I have a few, like, and there's different reasons for it. Like now, one of the matches, it's one of my favorites because how fun it was. Like it was one of the most fun we've had on a non-recorded show. Unfortunately,
Nice.
it was basically a tag match. It was Charlie Sterling and Shawn Max Guinness
Mhm.
against Paddy M, and Jordan Devlin. And the entire time during this tag team match, They're doing brawls and they're just like as you do in a brawl. But I'm following them, and randomly like Charlie Sterling jumps and does a spin kick, not like purposely not to hit anyone,
Yeah.
and instantly like Jordan just corpses and I corpse behind him. It's like ah. Meanwhile, like uh, Shawn Maxer and Paddy M are on the other side, and they're trying to pop each other as well. Like Shawn Michaels, like comeback and all, and the Ric Flair like
Yeah.
cell, like, like the whole like going like wrapping over the corner, climbing up the turnbuckle, getting thrown off, doing the
Right.
cell, and just like yeah,
Do the
like stuff. Yeah, just to pop each other, and it has been the most fun like match to referee because I'm enjoying it just as much there.
Of course.
And
It's pretty great
and
when you have those moments where like,
yeah,
everybody can just kind of relax and enjoy themselves. And like you said, just pop each other a little bit, like just have a
yeah.
little fun.
Let's be a fan again. Like
Sure.
let's have fun. But another match which is really like it's one of my favorites because of how it, it's sentimental to me because it was after so many years my brother-in-law finally won a championship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like for me that's
We haven't
it's
really said his name. Do you mind mentioning
sure.
who he is?
Sure. My brother-in-law, for those that don't know, is Terry Thatcher, who
Oh,
wrestles in Over the Top Wrestling,
sure.
and he has wrestled in the past as Irish Dragon,
Hmm.
and he's a year ahead of me in terms of being involved in wrestling. So, but we've been to the majority of the promotions like
Together.
together. Like we've
Yeah.
worked with each other constantly, but it was great to see that journey of like finally like they have actually giving him a go and
Yeah.
they know he's good and they're rewarding him for his like hard work. It's just so like he won the No Limits Championship in a tournament that we had on our contender shows, and basically the contender shows was designed for uh not for the likes of imports, but it was designed for the likes of our younger talent
Right.
who are not at the main show level,
Right.
but it gives them a stage to learn and get in front of a crowd and work the style for OTT.
Yeah. Maybe give
And
the mid card guys a chance to like be top guys and
yes,
see how they can handle that. Yeah. Very
yes,
cool.
and then slowly transition them to main shows.
Right.
But this was one of the situations for Thatcher because he'd been around for ages and he'd work his ass off, but like obviously because of his size, he's very small when you
Hmm.
look at some of the other lads that are out there. So for him to actually, he was starting to get a bit of steam going for the tournament. He had a match with Jonah Rock,
Hmm.
which really like it was a perfect like underdog like big man, little man story,
Right. For
and
those who are listening that are unfamiliar, Jonah Rock is actually Bronson Reed on the
yes,
NXT at this point. But please continue. Jonah
yeah,
Rock.
like,
Oh, we'll talk about it. Amazing talent. But yeah, go
yes,
ahead. Yeah.
scary
So
talent.
good. So good.
Like,
I got to really
it's
enjoy him at PWG for a couple of months before he
ah
got
man,
signed. And
like
yeah.
it's a shame like we didn't get to work with him more because like he would have been a really like he probably would have been a mainstay if he
Yeah,
wasn't already on his way for WWE. And
absolutely.
but him and Thatcher told a really good big man little man story, just
Hmm.
where Thatcher's fighting from underneath like the constant underdog. It got to the point that people are sympathizing. It's like just
Yeah.
stay down, like, and
Almost
which
like a
is
Hardy Undertaker kind of like, hey, bro, it's
yes,
okay. Like, we get it.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it was a perfect story, which basically got people to take notice of him,
Hmm.
of how good he is. And then during the course of the tournament, he had let out. He got he made it to the final, and for the final, they both did a promo to kind of hype it up and what it means to them.
Sure.
But it was a very close and emotional kind of promo
Hmm.
that people didn't get to see. people didn't know that he could actually cut a promo like that.
Yeah. It's
And
crazy when
really,
you give people that opportunity, like unfortunately it's kind of like almost a vicious cycle of like, well, they don't know that you can cut a promo, so they never give you the mic to cut a promo, so they never
mm,
find out that you can cut a promo, so you just never do promos even though you're really, really good at promos. I have a friend that is kind of stuck in that right now named Steven Tresario, and like the guy is insane in the ring, super jacked, great cruiserweight talent. But like I really feel like his biggest attribute is his ability to like talk and talk crap. And like, yeah, he just has never really had the chance to in front of an audience. But please continue about Terry.
like, yeah, like with Terry, it's just like it was a very like the match with Jonah Rock kind of like made people take notice, but the promo is really what like cinched it.
Yeah.
Where like not only were the crowd fully behind him for that final, but in terms of the booking,
Mhm.
like Joe Cabray, like I don't envy him because like he has a very tough job in trying to match people up
Sure.
for matches for a card, and even up to the day, he was not sure who he was going to put over
Mhm.
in that, and because of the promo, it really cinched it for him. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I need to give him now.
Is
Like
this one of the promo videos that I think his name's Ryan, the guy that was making those like incredible over the top
Sean
promos?
Ryan.
Sean Ryan. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Is this one of his
it,
pieces or
I don't. No, I don't think Sean Ryan was doing this one. I think this was Matthew Macklin.
sure?
He's our local like filmer, but
I've
like
been
very good at what he does. So
I've been very grateful and excited to see that the professional wrestling world is really finally starting to like take notice of how important videography and photography and lighting and
yes,
writing are, because like it's a big part of the allure of professional wrestling and a big part of how impressive it is that like people can go out there and just kind of do things in like a warehouse with like the like fluorescent lights on and still wrap people up in emotion and like send them home completely satisfied. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't do all the steps to make it that much better. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like there's a reason why movies have music and lighting and setting and scripts and things like that, and videographers that know what they're doing and photographers that know what they're doing. So it's
mm,
been a great transition, I think, in the last 10 years or so, to see people like really investing the money and the time and like making a top-notch quality product. And like even uh, Sean Ryan like was somebody that I had heard about a lot on the independent scene over here. Like we had people just passing around the over the top promo packages and stuff like that.
yeah,
Like you need
like
to see this. Like even if you don't watch the
yes,
product, you need to see this.
that's
But
how
please,
good he was. Like
yeah,
it's just it's scary because like you bring that up, and even when we were like in the lead up to those kind of matches that we'd get Sean in, we'd be like, all of us are just like, oh, I can't wait to see
yeah,
this. Like, like we might see like only a little snippet like being filmed,
sure,
but we don't see the final product till it goes out like everyone else.
right,
And all of us are just like, this is gonna be good. I
yeah.
wonder how this is gonna like look.
Now he's
And
a
sure enough, like he knocks it out of the park. Like he was like he did that good of a job that like WWE came calling for him.
yeah,
Like that's scary. Like to think
yeah,
that like you tried to do that like 5 to 10 years ago, it's not happening. Like WWE aren't coming calling just because you can cut a good promo, like edit a video package.
but
Like
now people see the reach that it has and the importance that it has. So obviously he was a top tier person. He's gone now. Tell us a little bit more about the person that you had just mentioned that was filming for Terry, and please continue your story.
yeah, like Matt Macklin, like he's fantastic at what he does. He's the one that films like all the OTT like shows,
Mhm.
but like he's very good at trying to get like before Sean Ryan came around, like Matt was doing the trying to get all these promos out,
Sure.
and like he would be like the one, okay, what if you did this? Like, then like, can you do this with a bit more like gusto, like or this, like, and he even though he has the patience, which is weird, like he has an ungodly patience for certain people when it comes to promos because it I kind of compare it to like the way uh
it was kind of explained in the DVD before, like with Paul Heyman, the fact
Hmm.
that like he'd be there for hours just waiting for a guy to cut a 30-second promo.
Yeah,
But it's
over
like,
and over and over again to make
yeah,
sure it went right.
yeah, like it's weird because like Matthew, like he's fantastic at that. He's like, but also getting people to kind of get there as well,
Yeah,
which is what you need. Like it speeds up the process, but like the results do prove like speak for themselves. But
absolutely.
like by doing the promos though, like it really cinched it. And as I said, it really was on the day, about an hour before the match itself. That's when we found out who was going over.
Mhm.
So it's literally like me and Thatcher stand beside each other. Joker Bray is there and telling us like, okay, you're going over. We wait for
Excuse
him.
me?
We wait for him to walk away,
Yeah.
and then we're just like I'm like I'm actually like grinning, like the shit eating
Yeah,
grin. And it's
yeah,
like,
of course.
yeah.
That's my boy. Yeah,
Whereas like he's just
absolutely.
standing there and he's just like,
Terrified.
uh, is he sure?
Yeah.
Like, because like the other guy, like everyone was convinced that the other guy was going to get it. It's just
Right.
like, like because he's that good. Like, uh, but obviously, like the boss man seen something in Terry, so he won the match.
That's an
Like it,
experience that like I think most people who don't ever, wear the stripes, even wrestlers, for they don't really understand how special that moment is for us when we have the chance to be in there with somebody that is very near and dear to our hearts, and we get to hand them something that we know means so much to them. Like I'm sure you've heard of Chris Bay at this point. I was the referee the first time that he got to like be awarded a like main title for a company. And he and I have been very close friends on the independent scene for a long time. We've been working at Championship Wrestling for like 4 years, 5 years, something like that. And like that's just one of those moments that like you're gonna remember that forever. It's a bond that you have with somebody. You know how hard you've worked, that person's worked, and how hard you've worked to make sure that you were the person who was there to do that with them. And it's just it's another level of connection that like it's just really hard to describe. But please go ahead.
like like the way I do describe it, like I've done it in a couple of interviews where like they ask what's it like being a referee, and I do say, to me, I have a fantastic job because I get to see the journey
Mhm.
of so many different people from the start, like from their first matches
Yeah.
up until where they are now. And it's scary. Like for
Mhm.
some of the people that I've worked with, it's scary to see the progression. Like I'll give you a good example. Session Mott Martina. Like
Yeah.
I was there like well before she was the Session Mott. Like then become Session Mott, and then her growth, and then to see her popularity explode like worldwide, no
Yeah.
less. Like, and to get signed with Ring of Honor, like it like we get this. I get to see the highs. I also get to see the really lows.
Right.
But it's a journey nonetheless. One that I'm happy to take with them, and sometimes it's fantastic when the other side of that acknowledge that you've been there as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Like you were there from the start. You've seen this. You know how much this means. So like this is just as much for you as it is for they are.
It's
Like
a really
so.
special feeling.
Mm,
Like to just kind of jump on what you're saying, like I had mentioned Chris, like Chris and Carrion Cross now are from the same school. They started pretty much at the same time, and I came in just about a year, maybe two into their careers, and seeing the two of them sprint back and forth with each other, trying to overtake each other, and like going from like, he'll kill me for sharing this, but Chris Strong and Kevin Cross to Chris Bay and Killer Cross, and you know where they are now, like just like knowing the whole time that they're gonna be there, but like waiting for the rest of the world to realize just how
yeah.
talented they are and finally give them that opportunity. There's like something just so satisfying about that. Am I right? Like,
Yes. Without doubt. Like it's also like it's because like you see the journey. It's also like sometimes it does. You become frustrated for them because it's like, why haven't they
Yeah.
why haven't they taken notice of you? Like
Yeah.
you're, especially if you're fortunate enough to have like a match that is become a little bit like noticed in
Yeah.
the circuit. It's like, okay, I know this person, but I don't really know him enough to book him, or I don't know them enough to book them. It's like, but then when they finally do book them, it's just like, why didn't
We
we
did
book them sooner?
it.
Why didn't
Yeah.
we book them sooner? It's like,
Sure.
I told you, I told
I've
you.
been telling you for years. uh, Tell me a little bit about like obviously COVID's been like a crazy killer to all of our scenes. What's the most recent match that you've refed? I'm sure it was, months and months ago, but what were things like before everything went on pause?
The last show that I refed was February 1st of last year.
Mhm.
And which is funny because the night before I had just returned from my trip to Japan.
Sure. Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
went
we
over.
missed each other by like
I know,
days. It was so frustrating. Yeah.
I know. That's why I was like, when I found out that like you were there, I was like, oh no,
Yeah,
we missed.
you came back on the 31st and made your return on the 1st, and then I flew out on the 2nd and made it
Yeah,
to like the island by the 3rd. Yeah, it's literally just days.
yeah, which is scary. Like, but it's what I loved about it is the fact that like that was the last show, like the first of February. That was the last show that I remember refing. Um, there was one 2 weeks later, just before all the like lockdown and events were all cancelled. But the I did love the trip to Japan. It's just a shame that like I didn't take in as much as I wanted to.
Yeah,
With
like
like
I knew when I was there that like there was a chance that that would be the only time I ever went there, which is how I felt when I went to Europe back in like 2012, which was way before wrestling. But yeah, uh, I didn't realize how finite that trip was going to be, like only a
yeah,
month later.
you don't realize it because it's like I was there for 10 days and I was like, "Grand, I'm gonna get all this done," and I barely even got a fraction of what I wanted to do.
Same.
I was just fortunate enough that like the last night in Japan, I was like, right, I need to check out a show while I'm in
Yeah.
Japan. I need to check it out. So I managed to get a ticket to Pro Wrestling Noah.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
which was good because a friend of mine who I've worked with is Chris Ridgway,
Mhm.
and he was working on the show as well. So I
Sure.
just asked him, it's like, what's the story about this? Like, any chance of getting in? It's like, I don't know. Do you know when you get the
I'll
half like
try.
he he's trying to fade you half the time. It's just like, yeah, you just bring yourself to the ticket desk. It's like, damn it, I was hoping to get a free ticket. It's just like get in.
I feel you.
but like, but I find that an amazing experience because while watching it, not only was I able to enjoy it for the first time in a long time as a
Mhm.
fan,
Yeah.
but I get to see a new style up close and personal
Yeah.
in terms of a referee. I mean, they're a different breed over there because
It's
like,
pretty wild how different it is. Like, I'm way behind on Japanese wrestling, honestly. I haven't really had like much access to it. Or like I haven't sought out access to it until pretty recently, but like this year I really committed to like, okay, Wrestle Kingdom is right now. I'm getting myself New Japan World and I'm watching everything that I can from here on because like I'm missing too much stuff, too much great,
yeah,
amazing content and watching it all act and stuff like that. But yeah,
man.
study like Red Shoes or like, Tiger Hattori or, any of the other.
Mm.
Please continue. Go ahead.
But like with the trip though, like because I remember like posting it, like
Mhm.
literally less than an hour after it happened. It's like, does anyone know the name of this ref?
Yeah.
Because he's an absolute tank. Because like, when accidents happen, it's like someone kicks out and they catch it. It's like, yeah, this guy got caught and it
Mhm.
started bleeding,
Yeah,
but he no sold it for the entire duration of the match,
sure.
and just eventually like a ring boy just like it's like continue. I'm like, that is brilliant. But watching their cadence and how they do business and like how
Yeah.
they operate. It's amazing. Like I would love to actually learn it.
Yeah,
Uh,
same. It's funny that you mentioned the ring boy thing. That's something that like we don't really have a lot of over here as well, just because
no.
like it's not really the culture that we have here in the States. But like when we have streamers go off here in the States, it's my job to like collect them and get them out of the ring as quickly as
Same.
possible, obviously. I was fortunate enough that Hikutaro and a few other people, Brett from GCW, Keigo Yoshino, the referee that was kind of our host
Yes.
over there, they all kind of like leaned a little bit on the Pro Wrestling Freedoms promoter to be like, hey, like, let him do this. And I got to do one match in Kurikan while I was there. And so like the cruiserweight champion comes out and his competitor comes out and they just shower the ring and streamers, like a huge display, right? And I go into cleanup mode immediately and I just start grabbing stuff and like doing my thing, and Keigo is standing on the outside of the ring to like make sure like if I need to hear anything that like I can't understand, that he's there to tell me. And he just starts slapping the ring super hard. Odie, Odie, Odie.
Don't do
And I
it.
turn and
Don't
I
do
look
it.
at him and I'm like, what? He's like, you don't clean. Ring boys clean. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Okay. I've been told off, right?
Sorry. But other than that,
No.
it went seamlessly. Did you get a chance to ref while you were there? Like, what did you actually go to Japan
No.
for?
Like I went for a holiday for my birthday.
Oh,
'Cause,
so just for fun.
I went because like I'd been talking about it for years. You know, when you procrastinate for so long, it's like
Sure.
I want to go here, I want to go here, I want to go here. Finally, I had the funds. I was like, I'm going here. My
Yeah.
30th is coming up, so I was
Yeah.
like, right, that's it. I flew the 21st, landed the 22nd. 23rd was my birthday, so I was like, yeah, I get to spend my 30th in Japan.
Yeah.
So like I went to the Studio Ghibli Museum and I went to Tokyo Skytree in the same day. I was
Very
like,
cool.
yes, which is it's
Big
weird to
thing to cross
see.
off the list. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, like Japan was an amazing trip. Like I would love to go back over there, not only to like see more of it, but to actually work there, because like
Yeah.
it's definitely an experience I want to have, to be able to say like I've worked the Japanese style, so I'm a bit more. I'm not just the American style. I can do the Japanese style if need be, or
Right.
vice versa. Like I want to add more to my repertoire, as it were.
Absolutely. We're kind of winding down time. This has been a great conversation. I wish we could just keep going because, like, I love hearing your stories, and you make me laugh. You're a very fun person to converse with. But we are winding down. I do like to take the last 5 minutes out of the conversation to give my guests an opportunity to obviously go ahead and plug your social media. If there are any shows, like you had mentioned Phoenix Wrestling at the beginning and 553, if there are any shows like that or them that you really want to like solidify in people's minds as something that they should check out that they haven't really had an opportunity to see yet. But more specifically, if there are some wrestlers, you mentioned Terry Thatcher, if there are any others that you think maybe the world hasn't really given the attention that they deserve yet, please take the time to get over whatever it is that you feel deserves to get over. Please take the time.
Get your stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was S word, so yeah. No, but yeah, you can find me on social media. It's the referee Niall Fox on Facebook.
Let's have
Fox.
you spell your name real quick, just for the folks
Oh,
who are
sorry.
unfamiliar with it.
So Niall, Niall,
Cool.
but it sounds like Nile, Nile, like the River
Right.
Nile. That's
Right.
how I do describe it. But it
I'm
is
sure
the
you must be
Irish.
sick of people saying Neil to you.
I was about to say that was actually like what does happen. It's like, is
Yeah,
Niall Neil Niall? Niall is Irish for Neil. Yes.
sure.
But it's said
We
Niall.
never even
And
talked about this. Do you speak Irish? Do you speak Gaelic?
no,
Oh,
no,
oh,
it
didn't mean to bury you, brother.
no. It's one of those languages that it's very complicated in itself. Like
Sure.
they contradict itself.
Yeah.
That people don't want to go near it.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
do you know when you have past, present, and future tense?
Yeah.
we don't have that. So that's why it confused the hell out of
Okay.
people. But unfortunately I don't speak Irish. It's
Well,
not
let's
for me.
continue with your plugs and all that stuff.
Yes. For Instagram, it's Fox Niall on Instagram. Twitter. I'm
He
trying to
doesn't know what he
remember.
is on Twitter.
I know. What am I? Who knows?
You're a
Ex-
referee.
an,
You're a
an, ex-
charming young lad.
an existential crisis like
Yeah, right?
going on in my head. It's like, but Fox Niall 23 on Twitter, and it's so yeah, like that's my social medias. Like I do I do small business where I make stuff and sell comics because I'm a
Very cool.
geek. I'm
Yeah, we
big
see
nerd.
cool stuff behind you, obviously, or this way.
Hey.
Hey.
No, but like but apart from that, like it's not about me, it's about putting people over. So
Absolutely.
right now, like yes, if people aren't familiar, like go check out Phoenix Wrestling. They have their on demand Phoenix Wrestling in it's a promotion based in Cork in Ireland.
Mhm.
And it's a small group of lads that are trying to a relatively new promotion, only like 2 years
Sure.
or just thereabouts. But they've had a couple of very, very good matches in the past, like anything to do with a lad called Michael May,
Sure.
or
I've
in
heard about him, actually, yeah.
as they refer to him in Cork, it's Big Win Mick, where he's a heel and he can't stop winning.
Not Big
But
Win Mickey Magpie.
no, it's not. Nobody wants that gimmick. But like, yeah, he goes by Big Win Mick down there,
Sure.
and it's the best work I've seen him do because he is undefeated, and he has a mouthpiece by the name of Tony Kelly, who does all the talking, but they work so well together. And any guy that comes in to try and face them ends up having a good match because Michael May is so good,
Great.
freakishly talented. He's another young lad that's done the dojo training in Japan.
Yeah.
He's trained in Europe, and it's like he's a fantastic wrestler. But apart from, you also have like a couple of other lads there. You have Matt Schuyler, who's a very good cruiserweight. Who
Mhm.
like he's so small and tiny. Like people, I could throw him around, and I'm
Sure.
not that big.
Sure.
So like this tells you about how big he is. He's twig. But I'm trying to think of a comparison. Cheeseburger.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good comparison. So like he's that thin. So like anyone could just throw him around. But he goes under the motto "too dumb to die." So,
Kind
but
of like a Mikey Whipwreck or a Spike Dudley,
yeah,
kind of. Yeah. Gotcha.
exactly like Spike Dudley. It's just, but very very good. Hasn't had a whole heap of matches, but what he's had is very promising. Like what he can do.
Very cool.
I can't wait for the time that he can work with lads that are far better than him to
Sure.
really like ground them and actually really showcase what you can do. But there's another lad in to the north of Ireland in
Mhm.
Belfast. His name is Stephen Carvel. He goes
Mhm.
by The View, and dude has everything. He has the look, he has the character, he has the charisma, and all he needs is a bit of seasoning. But he's had a few matches. Yeah, but like he just needs more seasoning. Like he's had a few matches that are out there if you can find them, but definitely like one to watch. He's also had a couple of run-ins with OTT as well.
Sure.
So if you have OTT on demand, chances are you'll see him on one of the shows there.
Great.
But yeah, like there's so many because like Ireland is just like bursting with people just ready
Right?
to come out,
It
and
seems like everybody that comes out of there right now is just like off to the races. Yeah.
like it's scary, like because like, we have a group here in Dublin, More Than Hype,
Mhm.
who are just which is a trio of like LJ Cleary, uh, Nate Martin, and Darren Carney, and all three of them together are just like scary talented,
Sure.
Like they one of the last matches before we went into lockdown was them against the Lucha Bros.
Mhm.
like it, and it's mayhem. That should be on YouTube. It's, as far as I know, that's one of the free OTT matches on YouTube.
You
But
heard it here first, folks. Check out Modern Hype on YouTube versus the Lucha Bros. Very cool.
more than hype. Yeah,
More than hype. More than hype.
Yes, yes. But like, yeah, like we so many, like, obviously, like we have we have girls as well that are like really talented as well. Like obviously, Katie Harvey has been a staple in Irish wrestling for a good few years now.
Right.
Like she herself and Phil Boyd are training. They train the new generation of people in Fight Factory Pro Wrestling. Yeah, Fight Factory. Sorry, not 557. It's just to make that clear. But yeah, like they spend their time like training up the new generation. But like they're both fantastic in their own right. Katie is a great hand to have in the ring. Like that experience, like female perspective.
Yeah.
But a very good, solid wrestler. And you have Raven Creed in Cork. You have Amy Alonzi, who's training to, like, she's making her way up the ranks. Hopefully, like, we'll see more of her in the future. But yeah, there's countless. There is countless.
I mean,
people.
it's insane how many people we run into that, you know, like are just bubbling right below the surface, and it's just like, come on, world, come on, let's give them the shot, give them the push, you know.
Like it's
so
scary.
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about, you know, a fair few of them, and hopefully this will give people a chance to take a look at some really great Irish professional wrestling. I really want to thank you for coming on the show today. We really appreciate your time. Obviously, this is, you know, a nice little like view into a
peek behind the curtain,
a little peek into, you know, the community that you guys have been creating over the last, you know, like 15 years or so, and it seems like you guys are doing really well for yourselves over there. It's really amazing to see, you know, where you have come from, and imagine where you guys are going to go. So I'm excited to watch.
I look no, like I'm excited. Like hopefully when we get back, like the scene, like the scene was at a high, like before like everything got shut down.
Independent wrestling was at a high before
Yeah,
COVID happened.
yes, it was. But obviously, like when we start back though, like obviously everyone has ring rust now. Like there's no two ways about it. But it allows the opportunity for new faces to finally break through and actually get out there more. And I'm so excited for that.
Same.
So,
well, thank you so much for being here today, Niall. I really appreciate your time. Folks, if you would like to support the Zebra Talk Fund, head on over to prowrestlingtees.com/Zebra Talk. We've got all kinds of t-shirts, sweaters, hats, masks. I'm selling pins. I'm selling tracksuits. Every dollar raised on the sale of Zebra Talk gear goes directly into the Zebra Talk Fund, which is a monthly grant that we award to one referee a month. It helps folks travel to new locations that they've never been able to afford to go to before, so they can learn a little bit more from some new faces. If you yourself are a referee and you would like to be on the podcast, or you would like to apply to the Zebra Talk Fund, please email me at zebratalk123@gmail.com. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, we're zebratalk123. If you're a referee and you're not in Zebra Talk already, like, what are you doing? Find me on Facebook or any of our referees, honestly. But I'm at Robert Odie Brown, and yeah, just go ahead and add me, and we'll get you set up in Zebra Talk and get you learning from folks. If you'd like to find me on any other socials, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Odie1Kenobi. And yeah, hope to see you out there. Thank you again very much, Niall. It's apparently I'm busting a gut over here.
Yeah.
He loves to hear me do my outro, apparently.
It's more so the gimmick name of the Twitter handle. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm a big Star Wars nerd, brother.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I hope to hear from you again soon.
Anytime.